Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's sales tips on how to help you get consistent clients and cash by being super easy to say yes to. So without further ado, I'm Marie Rogers, sales strategist and coach, and I'm just going to deep dive into this week's tip that you can easily implement and put into practice. So this week's subject, we're talking about how to actually break a myth that's out there and get you to a profitable business a lot quicker. Now, there's a massive myth out there that you need to, in order to build a and definitely a 7-figure business, but we're talking about 6 figures coaching business, you need to have a large list, a big group, a big following in order to get the sales. And that is literally what everybody seems to be teaching. And the issue with that is that we then, and I know I fell in this trap when I first joined for 6 weeks, is basically you put all your focus into creating before you offer. So what happens is you spend a huge amount of time, effort, and usually money marketing and trying to build that list. And your whole objective is to grow to a big enough list that you can then go and sell to. You need a big group, you need a big list. And everybody's got these vanity metrics. And I understand it, that when you look at someone and you're looking to see that thousands are actually following them and that thousands follow them indicate that they must be good at what they do. And to be honest, I'm not saying that's not the truth. You get really big names up there with huge followers, but what they'll even tell you is that there's a small percentage of the list that are actually buying. So they need the huge numbers in order to get some sales, okay? So high numbers, but low percentage of buyers, right? Not so easy to say yes to, so it's a numbers game. It's a hustle and grind, okay? So what happens is that you are driven by, so if you're driven by numbers in terms of your list, what actually happens is that you're driven by vanity, okay? So it's vanity, I've got thousands of followers, so obviously I must be doing well. How many do I know that are not doing so great with so many followers? But if you're driven by numbers in terms of your list, but it's not translating into clients, then what actually ends up happening is that you end up serving a lot of the wrong type of clients because they come into your list and a lot of them are just looking for free stuff. So what happens is you're getting no paid clients, you're serving a huge list and you're working really, really hard, but you're not getting the return. So you feel like you're making progress every single day because you've got all these vanity metrics, but it's not translating into cash in your bank account. Does that sound familiar? Okay, but once you actually take away and stop focusing on how big your list is, how big your group is, how big your followers are, then what you can actually do is focus on creating value and actually interacting with a smaller list that are more ideal for you. And the more ideal they are, the more likely they are to buy because you've now suddenly become easy to say yes to. So you can be proud, instead of being driven by vanity metrics that aren't translating into cash, you can now be proud that you're building a successful coaching business that has profit and money in the bank, and you're working with your ideal clients and you're serving them instead of serving a whole lot of people that aren't ever going to pay you. I'll give you an example of somebody that I've worked with. So Crystal, that I worked with when she first came to me, took a little bit of time. She was watching me for a while, but basically she's a life coach, and she had over 4,000 followers just in her email list alone. She had it was over 14,000 followers on her Facebook page, and she had a large group as well. But in the 4 years previous to working with me, her biggest and most profitable year was just over $33,000 in a year. So she was having some months with 0, some months maybe 5 or 6, and some months with 1 or 2. There was no continuity, there was no consistency, but everybody thought she was super, super successful because, you know, she had such a big list and an email list and all this, and she was constantly making offers, but it was like, I'm hearing crickets. So there was 3 things that she needed to work on, and those 3 things, and this I'm saying to everybody, and I've worked on them too, so, and it is proven and tested. If you work on these 3 things, regardless of how small your list is, you will engage with it, you will offer valuable content, and you will have people responding to you. So I would rather have, and as you can see, I don't have a big list, I don't have a big group, but I do have a very successful and profitable business, because the people in it react and act based on the value that they're getting. So the first thing is this, 3 steps. 1, niche your niche. Don't just fall into niching down to the same as what everybody else is doing. Take that a deeper level, and then you will basically stand out in a sea of competition. You will be known for specifically what you do. I basically help people to become super easy to say yes to. I have, you know, like, you've got to know what your unique selling point is, and most people only go down 1 level. So, but in order to stand out, regardless of the size of the list, is you niche your niche. Therefore, you're creating massive value for your ideal clients. So you've become a market of one in a sea of competition. You've created massive value, and more importantly, when you niche your niche, what actually happens is you set expectations for your clients that you're capable of meeting, and what actually ends up happening then is they keep buying from you. So you don't need to have a huge amount of followers or thousands in your group in order to get a small amount of sales. What you have is people buying from you, getting a result, buying from you again, getting a better result, and buying from you again and getting a better result. And that leads me into the second step, which is the power of 3. I cannot say enough times, if you make 1 offer only to your clients when you're having a sales conversation, when you offer only 1 option, there is a 70% chance that you will hear a no. I'm going to say that again. If you only make 1 offer to your prospects during a sales conversation, there is a 70% chance that you will hear a no. Why? I'm sure you're asking that question. Well, let me tell you why. Here's the psychology behind it. And I remember I spent nearly 3 decades. I know you didn't think that, did you? 27 years actually studying buying and sales psychology. So I can tell you this, right? That when you make 1 offer, the question that immediately is in your prospect's mind is, do I need this? And immediately what they start looking for is automatic, is literally automatic, guys. We all do it. We actually look for the reasons as to why we don't need it. So 1 option actually tells them, what you're actually doing is you're literally telling them to say no to you. That's what you're helping them do. Certainly the opposite of being easy to say yes to, you're really easy to say no to. Okay, so the power of 3 is literally the way to change the conversation from if you'll work together, 70% chance of no, to how you'll work together. And that transition and changing conversation means that you've now got a 70% chance of hearing yes. Super easy to say yes to. Isn't that what you want? Now let's talk about the 3rd step. The 3rd step is leading the conversation. Now, this is one of the things that even when I go into really professional and top sales teams, I find is severely lacking. No one leading the conversation. So it's kind of meandering along and nothing really happening, you know, and what ends up happening, if you're not leading the conversation, it can end up feeling awkward, and, you know, like a really awkward conversation where you don't know how or when or even if to bring up working with you, or if you do, it just feels a bit sleazy, it feels a little bit pushy, and you kind of just shove it in there. And what actually ends up happening is that your prospects don't really feel that comfortable or confident, because it's suddenly come out of nowhere. When you're able to lead the conversation with ease, both of you feel great. You feel like the conversation is going down a path. And what also ends up happening is you are doing less talking, because the golden rule is this. I'm giving you loads of nuggets in this, guys, but the golden rule is this. When you lead a conversation, your prospect, not you, should be doing 70% of the talking. 70%. Most conversations, it tends to be you that does 70%. And the more, here's the golden rule. The more you talk, the less they buy. Could you repeat that one? The more you talk, the less they buy. So you need to ask leading open questions that allow you to lead a conversation into talking about money. And when you do this right, they actually want to talk about money with you. They want to actually hear more about your programs. They're asking you. And it's actually something that my clients have found over and over again. It's like, oh my God, it was so easy for them to say yes. They're asking, well, how do I work with you? So 3 things: niche, your niche, power of 3, and lead the conversation. Now, I mentioned about Crystal and what wasn't happening in her business. So she had a massive following, big list, big group, Facebook page, the whole lot. So vanity, looking at it, looked very successful. However, it didn't translate into cash in her bank account. Her best year was $33,000. So as a result, within 6 weeks, within 6 months of working with me, basically what was happening was she had already hit 6 figures. $20,000 was her norm every single month. Now, she didn't change dramatically, but what she did do is she got rid of all the list. She actually made them want to, she created a smaller group. She asked them questions. She got rid of all the people that were never going to buy from her and that were not really ideal for her. When she showed up now, she showed up with ease. She understood her values, so her prices went up. She had people wanting to work with her. They easily transitioned in from one offer into the next. So she didn't have to keep hustling and grinding. And that's actually what I found in most of my clients as well, is that when you actually do the power of 3, people know the next step to working with you. They know what the promise is and what they've chosen, and they know what they can do next. So you don't lose clients, you keep them. And you serve them at your highest level and with total integrity. When you niche your niche, you stand out in a sea of competition as a market of one. And it's a lot easier to buy from a market of one than it is to buy, basically try and choose from a sea of competition. The power of 3 means that you're changing the conversation from if you'll work together to how you're going to work together. And when you take these 3 steps in combination, you've just become super easy to say yes to. And isn't that what you want? So I want to know what your biggest takeaway is from this training. I want you to comment, to share, to like the post as well. And basically let me know, what is the one thing that I've said that has been your biggest aha moment? The one where you go, I'm maybe doing that really well, or I'm not doing it so well. Or the one thing you're now going to implement. And I will respond to all comments. So that's Marie Rogers. That's me, talking in the 3rd degree. And I'm going to just sign off for another week. I'm going to wish you well. I'm going to wish you loads of sales success. And I'm going to wish you clients. Oh, try that one again. Try that one. Clients and cash. Because that's why you set up your business. Okay? So remember, you're exactly right. They need to do 70% of the conversation. And the only way that you can do that is if they're talking. And the only way you can get people talking is by asking the right questions. If you want to know more about asking the right questions, maybe that's something you need to ask me to do in the next live. Okay, meanwhile, take care. Have an absolutely fantastic week.